relate to this story. And I'll talk a little bit more about it afterwards. But I want to share with you all right? You'll be able to hear it, but you won't be able to see it, of course. I want to share with you all a very special interview from Miss Kelly Rowland, all right, formerly of Destiny's Child, right? And her story of reconnecting with her father. I want to share this with you. So here it is, right here on I Am Encouraged Radio.
Of forgiveness and love. And it's a very personal one that Kelly is sharing with us.
That's right. I mean, I had a wonderful mom who supported me and loved me, but the truth is there was always a piece of me that was kind of missing.
Story of forgiveness and love. And it's a very personal one that Kelly is sharing with us.
That's right. I mean, I had a wonderful mom who supported me and loved me, but the truth is there was always a piece of me that was kind of missing. And for 30 years, my dad was absent in my life. A few years ago, I reached out to him, and this is what happened. For as long as I can remember, it was me and my mom. My understanding of where my dad was as a kid was that he was not really ready as a father. I was angry at him. I was disappointed in him. I had all those feelings of abandonment. I think as a kid, you just feel like if they're not there, they don't want to be here. So that's what I felt, and that feeling sucked. As the years went on, I didn't want any connection. I remember telling the security on my team when touring, if this man comes to the gate, do not let him in. I didn't want to deal with that at the time. And it wasn't until I had Titan, my first, and I said, I really need to know him. I want to meet him. And by the way, this was after I lost my mother, because I lost my mother 3 weeks after Titan was born. So at that time, I think I still had these feelings of like, oh my God, I have no parents. And it was like, no, you do. You have one left. Next thing I knew, I was at a hotel in Atlanta, and I was on my way to walk in to meet him. Before I walked in, I had all these thoughts of what I was going to say. I had all these questions lined up. And as soon as I saw his face, it was a blank. So I sit there and I listen to him for almost 2 hours. And all the things I'd heard on one side of the story from my mother, God rest her soul, he had answers to some of them. So some of the pages of this book of us were filling in. I can only imagine what it felt like to have everything that you want to say for so many years to your child. I just allowed him the space. And it was incredible. Underneath all the disappointment and hurt and anger and fear, that's somebody you love. He was doing the best he could with what he had. Because when we actually got a chance to talk, he's telling me about his dynamic with his father and his father's father. How can one learn how to be something when they weren't taught? I learned that we are not perfect. And it broke my heart to know that there's going to be something about me that my kid is going to be disappointed about. Something, you don't do it intentionally, of course, but you have to allow space. You're not going to get it right every time, and that's okay. And I had to give my dad grace. Even with my mother, I had to give her grace for all the things she didn't know how to do as mom. And as a parent, maybe it's because I am a parent that I see it like that. But as parents, we have to give our parents grace. It's never too late. Forgiveness is always right there.
It is never too late. Well, Miss Kelly Rowland, let's welcome your father.
Absolutely.
Christopher Lovett. Come on in, Christopher.
Oh, you got me so excited.
Hey, Doc.
Hey.
So good to see you.
Hi, Christopher.
Hi, how you doing?
What a beautiful story this is. We want to hear all about it. We're going to take a very quick break, and we're going to come right back and speak with Kelly and her father coming up right after this. We're back with my guest co-host Kelly Rowland and her father Christopher Lovett. Christopher, we heard Kelly's point of view, what she felt like when she was walking, and she actually said Jay-Z was the one who said to her when she was deciding whether to meet with you. What did Jay say?
He said, love is all about risk. You got to decide if you're going to jump. You're going to jump. And that's
Are you going to jump?
Are you going to jump?
So we know exactly what Kelly was feeling. What were you feeling when you finally laid eyes on your daughter? I know you'd probably seen her on TV and things, but what was it like seeing her in person?
I didn't believe it. It
Yeah.
was just like a dream, really. It
Yeah.
was. And same way I feel now. I don't believe this now.
Were you
So,
were you following her? I mean, obviously you hadn't seen her since she was little. Did you watch her on Destiny's Child? Did you say that's my girl when her career was going along?
yes, many times. And people used to tell and say, I saw your daughter. And I used to sit there and say, well, I didn't. And it used to hurt. So when Kelly started performing in certain places, I followed her. And when I did go to a couple of places and everything, I didn't get a chance to see her because the security wouldn't let me see her. It was very, very, it was kind of, it was sad, really.
Well, you wanted to go, and Kelly, you said to the security, don't let him in. Why were you kind of that adamant?
I think that, you know, and we've discussed this, like,
Right.
I think that there was I was trying to protect myself. You know what I mean? And that was me trying to protect myself. I wasn't ready to deal with those feelings. And I think that in that time, you have to tell yourself that's okay. You know, it's never, of course, to hurt him, you know, but there's, you know, responsibility on both sides as far as, like, all of this is concerned. And I'm just I'm a kid in the middle.
You're a kid.
And I'm a kid in the middle, so it's like, I only heard one side, and that was the side that I took at the time, and that's why it was so freeing to hear him speak.
Yeah.
Those 2 hours in which I talked about, and just to hear how everything was coming together.
Because you probably had him pictured as this sort of not a good person.
Yes.
That's who he was in your mind.
Yes, yes.
Because that's what you'd been told.
Yes.
Do you think you would have sought out your father if your mother were alive? Do you think that would have been, did you think about that?
You know what? I think that there was a moment where I didn't know how she would feel about it, and her feelings at the time kind of really trumped his. And there was a moment where I was like, I have to meet him, and I don't want anything to happen to him, and I don't want to have any regrets. And so the opportunity that we got to meet each other, that was just a breath.
What did you want to tell Kelly? Because she knew one story. So what was it that you wanted her to know about what happened and why?
Well, I wanted her to hear the other side of the story because some of the things that were said, it wasn't true. And some of the things that other people said, it wasn't true. And I couldn't get a chance to see her. And I told a couple of people that what happened, but they really actually didn't believe it. So I wanted to tell Kelly. I wanted to tell Kelly that I loved her, and I never have gave her up. And even when they left Atlanta, I didn't even know that they left Atlanta. I didn't hear Kelly left Atlanta until about, I would say about 3 or 4 years.
Can I tell him what you're referring to? That was when
Yeah.
my mother's job, she was a nanny, my mother's job moved her to Houston.
You're right,
And
you're
he
right.
didn't know that
And
I
I didn't know.
left.
What was it like hearing your dad say to the grown Kelly, I love you?
Whew. It was, hold up. It was necessary. It was necessary to the little girl in me that needed to hear that. It was necessary to hear it from a man. It was necessary to hear it from my father. And when I thought about all the tumultuous relationships and trying to figure out men, like, that is the base and the foundation of it psychologically. So when I'm talking to therapists and I'm asking them about this, and it all runs back to the abandonment issue. And people like make jokes of that sometimes. It's like, oh, well, she has abandonment. No, I actually had an abandonment issue.
You really did.
And it's some seriousness to that. And it's once you like kind of tackle your way through that, you're helping to navigate your way through trying to have functional as possible relationships.
A lot of people at home are estranged from loved ones,
Yeah.
and they haven't spoken because they can't forgive.
Yeah.
They cannot do it. They say what he did or what she did was too wrong.
Yeah.
I can't. For someone at home who's wondering, should I call? Should I do it?
Yeah.
What would your advice be, Kelly?
Whew, I'd have to say, brace yourself and ask yourself a couple of questions. Am I ready for this? Am I ready for no matter the outcome, whether it's good or bad? Because the truth is that you don't want to set yourself up. Everybody's always scared of the other side, and you don't know if it's going to be this person embracing you with open arms or if they're not ready. And if they're not ready, that's okay. That's kind of their way of shielding you from themselves. And if they don't want to allow you into their mess at the time, it's not intentionally just calling them a mess, but I'm just saying, if they don't want to allow you into that world, they obviously know that it's already hard enough dealing with themselves. And if they don't want to allow you in that space, that's okay. Then set yourself free from that. But I really feel for them because there's so many feelings involved. And just know that you are loved regardless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you are loved, and surround yourself with people who want to support you and love and dote on you.
Christopher, just real quick at the end, did you ever feel like you had to say you were sorry?
Oh, yes, many times.
Yeah.
Many
No,
times.
Daddy. Every time. It's like every time we're on the phone.
every
I have to remind him to call. I'm like, Daddy, call me. He's like, I don't know, baby, if you're busy.
All right. Well, you know what? We're happy that you all got back together. We're happy that forgiveness is in the air. You guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We love you. Thank you so much,
Thank
Christopher.
you.
We'll be back right after this. By the way, she's so
Friends, I wanted to share that with you because I wanted you to see the impact, right? The impact that a father's voice has, especially, let me not just say especially, but in particularly on his daughters. A father's voice, right, in his son's life matters. I need the men out there to know your voice matters. Your words, whatever it is that you need to say, whatever it is that you have to say to your child, it matters. I trust me. Listen. Let me be the second to tell you. I get it. Sometimes, relationships with the woman don't always work out. Relationships with the baby mama, it's not always cute or it's not always pretty. But what I need us to do, men, and this is, my biological father, Charles Ashton, right? So some of you may know or may not know who he is, but either way, I didn't meet him until I was 21, right? When I was 21, and at that point, I wanted nothing to do with him. But can I tell you that getting to know him, hearing his voice, hearing his story, and hearing his side of things at different times has meant so much to me, has helped to free me, to heal me, and to help me. I understand a little bit more about myself now because I got a chance to meet him, because I have conversations with him, right? So men, I need you all to know and understand that we've got to make sure that, well, first, I need you all to understand that your voice matters in the lives of your children. It matters. They need to know who you are. Yeah, again, as children understand their fathers, like I said, there's so much about me that I now understand that I just thought it was the way I was or the way I am, right? Some of it is the way I was because I've kind of changed, and a bit of it was the way that I still am. I just thought that was just me. No, no, no. It it was it was because it was inherent within me, right? It was inherited. And that stuff was passed down from my dad. I didn't know it. He and I think and feel the same way about a lot of stuff. But until I got a chance to know him, hear his voice, hear his stories, then it all began to make sense. Men, I need you to know. I need you to know that your voice as a man matters. And you may say, I don't have children, but your nieces and your nephews still can benefit from your voice and your stories. I know I have poured in to my nieces and nephews. Excuse me. But I do it because my voice, right? It matters. It matters to them. It matters. My godchildren, my voice matters to them. It matters. You know, and so yeah, I need men to know your voice in this earth. It matters. We're gonna talk about that a little bit deeper on next week. I want to talk about the shift that happens when there's a male voice present, even in the spiritual realm, even in the spiritual realm. All right, friends. This has been Man to Man. We went a little bit over our time on today. We always do though, but that's all right. That's all right. I tell you what, we're gonna close out today's show, and as we close out today's show, we're gonna close it out with the benediction song. Y'all know I like this song. It's the benediction song by PJ Morton. All right, and it's titled "The Better Benediction" right here on I Am Encouraged Radio.